Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Here.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
The next item is a moment of silence to be led by our board clerk, Mr. Jerry Denton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by the JROTC graduated senior Lena Shiplett.
If you all would please stand and take off your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon. I'm Lena Shiplett, and I'm with the junior JROTC. I'm a graduated senior, as you were told. So I'm going to tell you some of my favorite things about Broken Arrow. So one of them is ROTC. I've made several friends through it and kind of found where I want to take myself through college and stuff. And then another one was my leadership class, and it's really helped me open up and explore different paths and learn different things about different people. So that's really helped.
Lena, first of all, congratulations on graduating. Can you tell us where you plan on going to college and how ROTC influenced that?
So I plan on going to NOC in Enid, Oklahoma. And JROTC has kind of helped me push me that way. One, because I just don't feel like going straight into the military. I want to get a college background first. And also, it's kind of taught me that you can't just take every day for granted, because not everyone it's sorry, it's other people fight for us, and it's not just something you can just sit around and not think about. So
Very good.
Thank you very much. Do you mind coming up and taking a picture with us real quick?
Before we formally adopt the agenda, I need to call a specific item to our attention, item number 53. It does need to be amended to reflect the current fiscal year, so it should read June 11th through the 15th, 2017, not 2016. With that amendment, I would entertain a motion to formally adopt the agenda.
I make a motion to accept the agenda with the proposed amended statement.
Second.
We have a motion and second to formally adopt the agenda with the amendment presented. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item are the minutes of the May 8th, 2017 regular board meeting minutes. I certainly would entertain any questions or comments. If there are none, I would entertain a motion to either accept or reject.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to adopt the May 8th, 2017 regular board meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Abstain.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item, in fact, before I begin this part of the board meeting, we have several summary of awards and achievements just to make everyone aware. Typically, we like to take pictures with those that are being honored here this evening. So if you just kind of pay attention a little bit to how we would like for you to come up here and be with both the superintendent and the board, we would certainly appreciate it. The first one up, Mr. Chambers and Dr. Dale.
Dr. Dunlop, Vice President Kelly, members of the board, it's my honor tonight to introduce to you Mr. Avery Chambers. He's the fine arts teacher, visual arts teacher, excuse me, from the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, and he's going to tell us about a couple of his students that have received recognition.
Thank you. Good afternoon, or good evening. Once again, my name is Avery Chambers, and thank you for having us here tonight. It's my extreme honor to present to you our award winners for our congressional art competition that we entered into. Every year, the congressmen of the U.S. House of Representatives, each district, have students who apply to do a piece of artwork that gets represented for our district in the U.S. House of Representatives. And this year it was kind of a learning year. I was, said, hey, I want to offer it up to my students. So I offered it to my students to do the piece of art. And I had these two fine student artists do their pieces. And one of them actually won first place in our district with the great honor of getting to go to Washington, D.C. next month, and to actually see her piece in the House of Representatives. So that's an amazing honor. This is the first time Broken Arrow's ever won. So it's super awesome. And this is her piece here. This is Kaylee Neighbors. Kaylee, would like to wave? She did an amazing piece. The theme was exploring Route 66, the Mother Road, and so she chose a woman driving along Route 66 with the reflection in the mirror showing the Route 66 sign, and with representing Oklahoma as the oil well in the background. So amazing piece. This is a pencil drawing. It's actually quite a bit small, or it's not quite a bit, but it's about the same size as the one next to it. But her piece is actually in Washington, D.C. right now. So this is actually a print that's going up into my classroom because I have huge ceilings. So this will be represented for the classroom to see for future years for the students to be able to refer back to, say, oh, that's awesome. I want to get my piece up there. So, and then this is Reagan. Reagan, you like to wave? She received honorable mention as well on her piece, and she was one of 3 honorable mentions, but her piece is actually the United States map, and she did little Polaroid pictures and in outlining the Route 66. So I'm extremely proud of them. They've done an amazing job. It's my first year teaching in Broken Arrow, and I can honestly say we have some amazingly talented students.
I think they want a picture.
Would you like to?
Oh, yes, pictures. Sorry, I forgot. Nervous.
Nice job. I can't see.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The next item is Christian Welborn.
Good evening, Vice President Kelly, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board. Tonight we want to recognize our Air Force NDCC program for receiving the Distinguished Unit Award from the Air Force. This is the highest of 3 annual awards that can be given to a unit, and we are very proud that our unit has received this award after 2 short years in BA. As a district, we have a mantra: literacy engagement equals graduation. We feel strongly that engagement is key to our students' success, which is why we place so much value in programs such as this that enhance the engagement of our students. For the past 2 years, Lieutenant Colonel Guy Ajewski and Chief Master Sergeant Davis have been building the program literally from the ground up, and they ended year 1 with almost 90 cadets, which was pretty impressive for year 1. In year 2, they ended with just under 100 cadets, and this year, with the addition of over 60 cadets alone from the Freshman Academy, we'll end up with about 160 cadets in our unit. So this is significant because having 100 cadets in a unit makes us eligible for Air Force funding, and I will let Colonel G talk a little bit more about that. But I also want to say that this wouldn't be possible without strong leadership, and they won't tell you, but they've also been named as Air Force JROTC Outstanding Instructors for this year. So we're very proud of them as well. They've done a great job leading our students. They've put together a wonderful group of parents that support the program, and we appreciate your support with the program as well. So I'll turn it over to Colonel G. It's a lot easier to say.
Thank you for those nice words. Good evening, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board. I just want to talk real briefly about the inspection process. When new units come in, there's basically a 3-year process. The first year, we get a visit from the inspectors. It's kind of a, how are you doing kind of visit. The second year, they come out as a staff assistance visit, where they come out to help us. And then the third year, it's a full inspection. Okay. Well, when they came out this year, our students did exceptionally well. We have 2 of those. Lena Shiplet, she worked on our staff for 2 years. We had 4 during that time, like I guess mini proms. We have dances for the students, and she kind of led that and put that together. And Elvin Hardwick, he is our commander for next year, so he has some big shoes to fill. But the students did such a fantastic job that the inspector took our staff assistant visit, ripped it up, and he turned it into an inspection. Okay, so, and they gave us an excellent rating. But what that means for us is now that we have that inspection, we're on the Air Force's list that says we could be, picked up. Not necessarily going to be, but we're on the list a year early than most other units. So that gives us a chance to get funded, a year early. So we're hoping for the best come August. So.
Well, I know that Mr. Perry, Chuck Perry, wishes that he was here this evening because this was due to the hard work of him, Christian Wellborn, and you gentlemen. Our students time and time again rise to the challenge, but it takes excellent leadership and excellent teachers in order to set that bar for our students to meet it. We appreciate you so much, and we're so proud of you. You represent Broken Arrow well, and anyone who's been in Broken Arrow for any amount of time at all knows that the patriotism in this town runs very, very deep. So we are very proud of you.
I would also just like to commend you guys on this. Is something that I know was near and dear to our heart, and you guys have absolutely done an incredible, incredible job. So thank you for your leadership and success. Thank you.
Next item, Ms. Debbie Renz.
Vice President Kelly, members of the board, Dr. Dunlop, I'm very happy to be here tonight to present the 2017 Special Olympics team. We just returned from Stillwater, those 3 days in May where our students competed in the state competition for Special Olympics. This is just a portion of our team. We had about 107 traveling with us, including our coaches and peer coaches and athletes. It's quite a presence that Broken Arrow makes in Stillwater when we roll in. We talk a lot about collaboration and just making things happen for our district, and this is where you can't help but recognize athletics and all of their time and attention helping us raise funds to get all these kids there in style there in Stillwater. So much appreciation to Melinda Knight and Ken Ellett for all of their work in athletics. Transportation, without their coordination and getting us there, and 3 of the best drivers we could have had that just put up with everything and start those buses up every time we need to go somewhere else without a question. They're great. Our peer coaches consist of peers at the school sites that sometimes have worked with our special athletes all year long, and I can't help but just I found myself throughout the course of the 3 days kind of stepping back and watching these kids in action. They are phenomenal with our special athletes, taking care of their every need. I was so impressed with how in tune they were with our athletes and how well they just took care of everything, and such a level of maturity that surpassed everyone's expectations. Our teachers and our para coaches, a few of them are here with us tonight. They give of their family time. Again, we leave on a Wednesday morning about 7:30 in the morning, and we don't come back till Friday afternoon late. So they give up family time to be with this team and help us make this very much a success for our kids. So with that, I'm going to recognize Katie Fly is our lead coach for the district, and she has a system of organizing everything, executing it with a schedule that is unquestionable. Even with the bad weather that rolled in for us on Thursday night, canceling some of our activities, and then Friday morning some of our competitive events were put on the back burner. We flew through it all, and Katie made it happen and still made it lots of fun for the kids. So I'd like to introduce Katie Fly.
Thank you, Dr. Dunlop and the board for having us here. We were able to, sorry, I'm trying to unlock my phone. Okay. Just kidding. Okay. We were able to bring home with us 15 gold, 23 silver, and 8 bronze medals. We also brought home a ton of ribbons. As you can see, a lot of our athletes and peer coaches are wearing their bling tonight. So they did a great job. Like Ms. Wren said, I do want to recognize the teachers and paraprofessionals that were able to go with us. It takes a lot to agree to go with 100 people and stay in an empty dorm room in Stillwater and have community bathrooms. But they all did it very willingly and volunteered. We've got Miss Jess McCutcheon, she's back there, Miss Benavides, Miss Susan Gunderson, and Miss Deanne Planner are here with us tonight. And so yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and start calling the names of our awesome athletes and peer coaches. If you guys will just come up here in the front and stand right there for me. We've got Clinton Wood, Eric McKinney, Sean Cunane, Julie Bookout, Madison Mell, Alex Baltzel, Emma Wolf, Callie Cole, Elijah Shepard, Alex Stevens, Emma Lawson. Ooh, I can't see you. Ryan Hacker, Jasmine Laraway, Matthew Bush, Jada Fleetwood, Jaden Danner, Kelsey Ballinger, Dakota Gothrix, Jacob Grigsby, Benjamin Hunold, Toby Benton, Hunter Hansen,
Michael Tomasoni, sorry, and Austin Tussey. You guys could all come up here.
Great job, everyone.
Yes. Good job, guys. Great job. Congratulations. Good job. Good job. Nice job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thank you. That's hilarious. I know. You there? That is an amazing group. I know.
All right, the next item on the agenda, Mr. Ken Ellett.
Dr. Dunlop, members of the board, you know, anytime you win a state championship, and it really doesn't matter what it's in, there's so many things that have to take place and have to happen, and there's things that have to happen over a period of time. And probably one of the most important things is you really have to believe. And it's one of those kind of believes, you can't fake it. You either believe you really can do it or you don't believe you can do it. And this soccer team and this coaching staff in 1 year, Coach Schwab has been there 1 year, has ingrained that belief. They won a first-round playoff game, they won a second-round playoff game, they won a third-round playoff game, and they won a state championship in a fashion that you don't see every day, an outstanding game. And Coach Schwab has done just a fabulous job. So at this time, I'd like to turn over the 2017 Boys Soccer State Championship coach, Shane Schwab.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad a lot of the room left. Now I'm not quite as nervous, but there's a lot of people here. But Dr. Dunlop, the board, thank you very much for having us today. What I'd like to first do, if I could, I'll talk a little bit about the playoffs and the season real quick, but I'd first like to introduce the team. Is that okay? And then they can stand up here and take pictures, whatever. First of all, we did bring our little piece of hardware here, state championship trophy. We thought that was kind of nice to bring. This is Jared Day, one of our seniors. Cameron Beller, Drew French, Chase Gaddis, Josh Gallagher, Connor Torvik, Blake Anderegg, our awesome goalkeeper that saved our behinds in the PKs. Parker Ainsworth. I wanted to call you your other name. Chandler Sade. I got it, yes. Kyle Anderson. Hunter Meeks Reiner. I get it? Oh, sorry. Noah Harris. Junior Becerra. We're going to talk about you in a second. Isaac Malone. Zane Wyckoff. Jonathan Garcia. And Alex Garcia. And my assistant coach, Anthony Smith. All right, if you guys want to just come back over here real quick. I'm gonna talk just real quick. I did want to say thank you to Dr. Dunlap, Mr. Perry, Mr. Stecker, Ken, and Melinda, and the board for hiring me last year. It was about this time last year that we met, and I do remember with Mr. Stecker. We were at Louis, and he said we're going to offer you the job. You know, would you want to accept the position? And I literally got chills up my spine. So I knew that it was the right position for me. This is where I went to school, and I'm an alumni here, and it's just a real honor to be able to come back and coach the program. Obviously, I want to thank my staff. I couldn't have done it without him. Coach Smith here, Coach Romano, who's actually somewhere serving our country right now, and he's our freshman coach, and then Coach Sandoval, which helped as well. A couple of our seniors, we met Jared here, Jared Day, and Noah Harris were our two senior captains. And Noah, we introduced him. Step out, Noah, just for a second. He had to work tonight, so that's why he's not quite dressed up. But he really was our program captain from the beginning. He showed all kinds of leadership qualities, and he did an amazing job of believing in what we were wanting to do. Just as Mr. Ellett said, we believed from the very beginning. And when I first met the Broken Arrow Booster Club, I set that expectation early on. And I know Ken and Melinda probably got a little nervous, but I said, you know, we're here to win state championships because I know we've got the talent, and we just need to get the focus and dedication. But I set that expectation early, and you know, we believed all along. So, and Noah and Jared were very instrumental in helping implement what we were trying to put in with the program: the discipline, organization, and the belief. And then now they're graduating. Jared will soon be announced as a Tulsa World Player of the Year. So, big round of applause for him. That'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And Noah was in the running for it as well. But they obviously can only pick one. But Noah is our MVP, voted by the players. So Zane Wyckoff is step out. He is a junior. He is going to be taking over that very prestigious role, and he's got some big shoes to fill. So, but we're looking forward to that happening. A couple quick things about the season. We went 17-2, but we lost our very first game to Union, of all people. Sorry. And we honestly didn't play very well. Kind of got beat up a bit. We made some changes the next game, and we went to Bishop Kelly, and then we won a few games. And about 4-1, I think, is where we were. And I brought Noah and Coach Romano into the office, and I said, "Hey, guys, we're 4-1, but you know what? We're gonna go 17-2, and we're gonna win the state championship." I knew we were gonna lose another game somewhere. I just didn't know where, but I really did believe that, and Noah can attest to the fact that I really did say that, and I really did believe it from the very beginning. And once we started getting on a roll, we won 7 straight games. Then we lost a game in a rainy condition to a team from Arkansas, so not quite as bad. But then we went on a 10-game win streak and won the state championship. As Ken said, we won. We had awesome attendance at our 3 home games. We're very fortunate to have that at Broken Arrow. And we closed down that stadium where we will no longer play. We're going to be moving over to our new facility. Thank you, board, for that. Very excited about that. Unfortunately, the seniors don't get to play there, but everyone else will. And we're planning on putting that trophy in the very first thing once we get there. About the championship game, if you didn't hear about it or see it, it was a nail biter. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. We went to 8 rounds of penalty kicks. Mr. Perry, who's a big soccer fan and a good friend of mine, came in and gave the pregame speech, and he was fired up. You know, Mr. Perry, he's pretty calm, but he was so fired up, man. I thought he was gonna punch something, you know. And it was awesome because I had never seen him that fired up, but he just gave an amazing speech. Well, we went out and we got scored on the first 5 minutes. So I said, you know, Chuck, just didn't quite work out like we had a speech. Because he's like, gotta come out strong, guys, get all over them. And we were down 1-0 in the first 5 minutes. But the beauty of that is we went on and we scored the tying goal with 7 minutes left in the game. And it just goes to the resiliency that these kids have. They never, ever stopped believing they were going to win. Went through 2 rounds of overtime and 8 rounds of penalty kicks. And twice we were down to our last shooter. If their player would have made it, we would have lost. Blake made a save on the 5th kick. And then their 7th kicker hit the crossbar and it bounced down and out instead of down and in. So we were fortunate, certainly, but you have to have those that luck and to win state championships. But again, I don't think we stood together and we never stopped believing that we were going to win that game. We had a phrase we called ruthless. That was our key word for this year, and we certainly were during the whole time. What I really loved, not only celebrating with my staff and teammates, but I got to see Dr. Dunlap and the smile on her face. As you know, all the stress that she has to deal with school and education, and it was really nice to be able to give her and Broken Arrow, the district, something to be happy about towards the end of the season. And I'll never forget her face and how excited she was to hand out those medals, and I'm glad we were able to provide that smile to you. I'll leave you with one last thing, just a quick. I asked the boys to write the day before the game what it means to them to win state championship. So I wanted them to already put in their minds that they've won it. One of our stud seniors, Chase Gaddis, who actually found out he helped write the essay for Broken Arrow to get the National Spirit of or School Spirit Award. So great job to him. But he wrote a really telling, just a paragraph here. It says, what it means to win state. I have played soccer since the age of 5 years old. My only dream was to play for Broken Arrow Soccer. I knew that I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up, so I kept my soccer ambitions low. Winning state would mean that I will have succeeded at something I have loved since I was 5. State is something that exemplifies peak performance, and it can never be taken from you. Winning state would also help build a soccer culture at Broken Arrow that will keep producing top players. It will also increase soccer's relevance at BA in Oklahoma. And I really felt like that just summed up everything that this team believed in, and we hope to continue that legacy going forward. Thank you.
So coaches and gentlemen, yes, I was there that night, and you almost gave me a heart attack, but phenomenal. And I think of course, winning state is like icing on the cake, but what made me the most proud was the grit, the resilience, and the excellent sportsmanship you showed. And that makes us proud to be Tigers. So congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you. Go ahead, back up that way. Go ahead, Cam. You what? You want a picture?
They're marching out the door. You better get them.
Hold on for a second, gentlemen.
Just make a loop back around.
If you'll loop back around up front here, we'd like to get a picture with you guys.
At least, yeah, this is the kind of a once in a while.
Remember, shortest in the front, tallest in the back. Hey, you're standing up front with that attire. Nice job, Coach.
Too much time.
Not at all. Well worth it. Well worth it. Set the bar high.
Next item, Mr. Spencer and Mr. Jadamski.
Good evening, Vice President Kelly, Dr. Dunlop, and members of the board. I think I'm going to talk for a second, and Mr. Spencer is going to speak. I think in student activities, every year, one of the points of emphasis we try to make with students is there's usually not one thing that makes a person, place, or thing great. It's usually a combination of 100 little things that makes a person or place or thing truly great. And I think Broken Arrow High School winning the Most Spirited High School Award from varsity is a pretty good example of that. I mean, just tonight, you have seen that, right? We had some great groups in here already. We had our Special Olympic team. We had the state championship soccer team. We had our junior ROTC who's in its second year. We had some art students, right? So I think you have all these quality things going on, programs and people, and when you add those together, that just creates a feeling with people in our community, and that's reflected in our high school, and we entered a contest and won it, and so that's a really cool thing, I think, for the city and the district and the high school. I think probably the biggest thing that stands out to me is I've been in several districts, and we go to state student council conventions and all sorts of things. We see schools from all over and even across the nation. I think the one thing that really stands out to me here is I don't think I've ever seen a group of students that are more willing to invest in themselves and other people to create an experience and own that experience. I think that's one thing that really sets us apart and helped us put ourselves in a position to compete for this title of Most Spirited High School. I kind of joke with people, I say, if we're the Most Spirited High School, I feel sorry for other people, right? And I say that not because we're bad, right? But we can get a lot better. And, it was a contest and we won it. But what a cool thing for us. And I think that does reflect just kind of the vibe that Broken Arrow has and hopefully continues to grow.
Sorry, gotta get my notes out. Good evening, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board. I'm Greg Spencer, video production manager. And first of all, I just want to say that this was a huge honor, obviously, for everyone in Broken Arrow and everyone in Broken Arrow High School. And as much as winning the contest, I think what made it, there was some frustration on how long we had to wait in order to find out if we won. There was like a 2-month period, but it really just the timing of it all was so amazing. I know a lot of you were there, but for us to find out and to be able to have Mrs. Burns get up there at graduation and cap that off, that to me was worth all the hard work and worth everything that the kids put into it, because that was my job is about capturing moments. That's what I try to tell people, and that was a moment, and that was exciting. I think even just that cell phone video that I took of the announcement has like close to 100,000 views or something. It was shared so much on Facebook. So I mean, I think that tells you about people were really proud of this, and I know we were as well. Winning this contest really starts first and foremost with JJ, and the things that his students and staff have done to create a culture and to get Broken Arrow High School and Broken Arrow Public Schools where we are today. When I first came here, 3 years ago, he was one of the first people I met. And what I did was I kind of took a look around and said, what do I have to do to make our program as successful as his program, as drama, as pride, as athletics? And that was what my goal was, so to look around at the people that are doing big things and find a way to do big things on our end. Like I said earlier, ultimately, the moments and the memories and the things that happen throughout our school and throughout our district, my job is to capture those memories and those moments, and that's what I take the most pride in. Ultimately, creating something and doing something within our program that the kids can truly remember, because things constantly happen that I think we can all relate to if we look back on our high school. I graduated in 1998, and it's crazy to me to think how few pictures and videos I have of my high school memories. And we grew up in the time of disposable cameras, and now we all carry around video cameras in our pocket. And so that's the memories that we can kind of capture. That's what's most exciting about this. I want to thank a few other people. Liz Burns, she did an amazing. Not only her support, but she wrote an amazing letter of recommendation, which was one of the things that you had to do for this contest. But then the way she, gracefully announced us winning the contest was pretty awesome and helped make that a magical moment. Amy Howe, our awesome cheer coaches who brought this contest to our attention. We all know about the success her program has, and that's another, stepping stone, a thing for us to emulate. Really the entire athletics department, especially Melinda Knight and Ken Ellett. And Melinda wrote another outstanding letter that helped us win this contest, and as Coach mentioned earlier, Chase Gaddis, back there in the back. Chase was actually one of 2 students that wrote the essay portion, John Napoleon being the other, and they embody the type of students that our program has produced, that JJ's program has produced here at Broken Arrow, and the things that they do, in the classroom and involved in the activities. And then lastly, Mr. Perry and Dr. Dunlop for your guys' support and the things that you guys do here. And then one last kind of shout out to Nolan Couch, our video production teacher at the high school, who's my right hand, and I wouldn't be able to do the things that we do without his support and help. So thank you.
I would like to say at graduation, it was an absolutely wonderful event as far as Ms. Burns making the announcement. And I do believe that is an exceptional moment that those students will always remember. And I can remember back, Mr. Jadamski, when you first came to the district, and certainly as we began forging the strategic plan under the student engagement piece. And we have seen a lot of growth in that area. And it is just those little things, just as you said earlier this evening about the different various programs that are available to students, that really encapsulate the opportunities that our kids are getting, which equal success, which equals graduation. And that is so key to our focus in the district. So I want to say to you, certainly, that I thank you, certainly, and all of the staff members that make up the high school and the receipt of this prestigious award. Thank you so much. The next item under donation, Ms. Birdwall.
Good evening, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board. I have with us tonight some of the Centennial PTA, Ms. York and Ms. Schleiss and Amy Bean. And they are bringing a donation tonight for Centennial Middle School for a basketball goal back in the back area where the kids can go outside during the lunch hour and get some activity. We're seeing this as a common trend in our middle schools, giving this kids some space to get outside during the lunch hour, and we're so happy that our PTAs are helping us with that initiative. So thank you all. We're asking for you to approve the donation.
Before we do that, I do want to thank the PTA for being such a tremendous partner on all our schools. The things that our PTA is doing to enable our students to have some of the opportunities that certainly they all deserve, but we could not do it without the PTA. So I want to first say that before we take any action, but would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the donation of $2,085 for Centennial Middle School through the Parent Teacher Association. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Next item, Ms. Jennifer Peterson.
Good evening, Dr. Dunlop and the board. I'm requesting the approval of a $15,000 donation to CLP from the Country Lane Primary. They held a readathon fundraiser in April, and it did very well. And so they plan on using the funds to buy touchscreen tablets for the classrooms, and also they're talking about some tricycles and things of that nature for their playground for the kindergartners.
Okay. Cool. If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve $15,000 donation to Country Lane Primary by the PTA. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Thank you.
Amazing.
The next item.
Okay. I'm not used to having several items in a row. So I'm coming tonight asking for approval to offer employment for for the director of secondary. For the special education director over secondary. We are asking for the approval of Mr. Eric O'Brien. He is currently a school psychologist within the district, is working at one of our middle schools, has worked very closely with Mr. Officer as we are moving forward with RTI. The committee was very excited about the possibility of him becoming our secondary director.
Okay, if there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve Mr. Eric O'Brien as the Special Education Director of Secondary Education and with the employment subject to a mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
And Mr. O'Brien could not be here with us tonight, so. And then next, I have seeking the approval of a Director of Elementary Special Education, and we are recommending Miss Daylene Oxford. She comes to us with a plethora of experience. She has been an elementary school principal. She has been a federal programs director. She has actually worked as a SPED director. Her last assignment was she was a program director within Union Public Schools. So we truly believe the partnership between Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Oxford are going to, it's going to do great things within our special education department.
All right. If there are no questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and second to offer employment to Daylene Oxford as Special Education Director of Elementary Education with the employment subject to a mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Oxford, do you mind standing up and just waving so everyone knows who you are? Welcome aboard.
Next item, Mr. Mark Officer.
Freshman Academy. Freshman Academy is first, right? Yes. Freshman Academy is first. All right. Good evening, Superintendent Dunlop and the board. It's my pleasure to introduce to you this evening a couple different administrative positions that we're really excited about. The first one that I'll talk about is an opening at the Freshman Academy that is a result of moving Mr. Brandon to the high school. You might remember that we asked Mr. Brandon to move to the Freshman Academy to help us a year ago, and his heart is at the high school, and we had an opportunity to put him back there where he really wants to be, and so we took advantage of that opportunity. So that left us with an opening there at the Freshman Academy, and tonight I am excited to introduce Miss Amanda Summers, who you've heard of probably, as the new assistant principal at the Freshman Academy. Miss Summers has been with the district for several years. I'll just go through some of the things she's done over the last few years. She was a community director with March of Dimes, divisional director with March of Dimes. She was an English department teacher and department chair with Broken Arrow High School just a few years ago, an AP teacher, and then also served as director of development for Life Senior Services. Since coming to Broken Arrow, I've told her she can't decide what job she wants. We've moved her around a lot because she's so stinking talented, but she's been a community director for development, executive director of public relations, project manager for eSchool, and most recently the chief communications officer. It was really cool to go through those interviews last week, and this move, I can tell you, is 100% about being around kids and teachers, and she just misses that opportunity, and you've got to respect that when somebody's in education and they just want to be around kids and teachers. So welcome, Ms. Summers, to the Freshman Academy. Assistant principal with 1,300 ninth graders. Awesome.
All right. We have one. We have one minor detail. Let's go ahead and I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve Miss Amanda Summers as the assistant principal for Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, again subject to mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Good luck.
I always forget the vote part. Sorry. Okay, so we're submitting for your approval this evening another assistant principal position, and we're bringing to you Kim Shine. Ms. Shine was a special ed teacher for 5 years at a couple districts surrounding the area to begin her career. She then came to Broken Arrow actually in 2002, where she served as a school psychologist for 13 years and served us very well in that role. I can tell you as a principal at Oliver, I loved her being a school psychologist.
She was then the secondary coordinator for SPED, and in January, with some administrative movements that occurred, we needed help at the Freshman Academy. Difficult to go into a building at the middle of the year. Again, you might as well cut your teeth with 1,300 ninth graders if you're going to do it. So she did that in January for us and served as an interim assistant principal and just did a great job by everybody's account that you talked to at the Freshman Academy. So we are excited to bring her to you as a recommendation for a high school assistant principal.
Okay, if there are no comments or questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve Kim Shine as assistant principal for the Broken Arrow High School with such employment subject to a mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
And Ms. Shine is here, and we'll let her introduce her husband too, I think.
Next item, Dr. Dunlop.
Thank you, Vice President Kelly. It's funny because at this time of year, it seems like we always have, I call it the ping pong balls and mouse traps, because it seems like one ping pong ball goes and then they all start moving. Each summer, it's our practice to give our school leadership opportunities to continue in developing as leaders and learn from different experiences in the buildings, and especially as assistant principals. The assistant principals, we want them to learn from different leadership styles. So as a result, we've had a series of movements. We had a resignation of one of our principals who is moving back home to the Oklahoma City area, Tara White, at Spring Creek, and then Dr. Coates' promotion to an assistant superintendent. That kind of started the whole ping pong ball effect. And then in addition, recently we had Larry Smith, our longtime elementary principal of Aspen Creek and then Indian Springs before that, announced his retirement. So we're beginning the interview process for both Highland Park Elementary and Aspen Creek. And the changes that I'm getting ready to explain will give you some details of what's going on. And if any of you are in attendance that I'm going to call your name, please go ahead and stand so everyone knows who I'm talking about. So movements for the 2017-18 school year. Oh, and I also have to say that's probably not over yet because we know that this is the hiring season and anything can happen. Existing APs could get one of those positions at Aspen Creek or Highland Park. That could happen. So movements for the 2017-18 school year are as follows. Karen Morrison is moving from Highland Park to Country Lane Primary. Teresa Boker is moving from Country Lane Primary to Spring Creek. Russell Frederick is moving from being an AP at Liberty to Leisure Park. Kay Long is moving from being an AP at Aspen Creek to Liberty. Bridget Powell is moving from being an assistant principal at Country Lane Intermediate to Aspen Creek. And then Beth Schmidt is moving from being an AP at Leisure Park to Country Lane Intermediate. So see if you can draw the lines to all of those. I promise it makes sense. And then in secondary, we have a little bit of movement. Sarah Gouldy is moving from being an assistant principal at Broken Arrow High School to Sequoia Middle School. We're getting ready to make some changes there with remodeling that school to bring some of our special needs populations there, and so she is going to be a huge addition to that staff. And then the next one, Christian Wellborn, who has been in communications. Christian is also that girl Friday. She's done just about everything we've ever asked her to. And where are you, Christian? Are you still here? Okay, she made an exit, but she's done just about everything. She is going to Broken Arrow High School as the co-director of student life and activities. The reason being is that JJ has done too good of a job. We have so many students now who are involved in leadership that we can't handle them all. And she would love the opportunity to learn from JJ and then continue to grow that program. And finally, in case you haven't heard it through the news, our very own Mark Fry has tendered his resignation. He has been announced as the new Tulsa Performing Arts Center Executive Director. We're so very proud of him. Very sad that he's leaving. He will continue a lot of his duties. He'll continue to book shows here and be very involved in the community here, but obviously he can't do both jobs, so he has resigned, and we will be bringing a recommendation to the board at the June 26th meeting on how to fill his very large shoes. Not that he has very big feet, but very large shoes.
And his position with scheduling is through Arts Oklahoma, is that correct?
That's correct. His when he books the shows here for the Tulsa or for the Broken Arrow PAC, it's done through the Arts OK Council, and that's who books the shows. We just run the facility. And then lastly, with our movement of Amanda Summers, because a lot of you are probably thinking, what in the world are you going to do? So with the movement of Amanda Summers, we will begin evaluating our needs in communication, and will most likely post a communications position within the next few weeks. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dunlop. The next item on the agenda are comments from the public. Seeing that we did not have anyone sign up to speak, we'll move to the next item, which are the reports to the board. Ms. Natalie Ena.
Good evening. Vice President Kelly, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board, just a very short update now that the legislative session has ended. What you see in front of you is a summary of all of the cuts that have transpired pretty much from January through present date. We are to receive one final payment in June, and at this point we have not received clarification on the percentage that will be reduced, but the good news in May, there is only a $6.8 million shortfall, so that resulted in a much smaller reduction to that May payment for us. So with the payments, you can see total loss to date is about $2.3 million, resulting from the revenue shortfall, the cash management through March, April, and May, and like I said, June will be our final payment to see where we end for the 16-17 fiscal school year. So the legislative session ended at the end of the month. They had an $878 million shortfall to fill. Rainy day funds had been utilized, one-time funding had been utilized, so they were looking at a pretty big task to figure out how to fill that. Unfortunately, no teacher pay raise was passed, but Senate Bill 860 did pass on the last day of the session, which proposed a $6.8 billion revenue stream. In that bill, it called for a cigarette fee, increase in gross production tax, and motor vehicle tax. So they have estimated that to be approximately $6.8 billion in new recurring revenue. Unfortunately, there are still some questions that are left to be answered. A lot of the pundits across the state are calling the revenue-raising bill at the last minute to be unconstitutional and believe that it may be challenged in court. If a special session is called, that will result in about $30,000 per day to taxpayers. Common education was said to have been held harmless. So what does that really mean for us? Superintendent Hoffmeister reported that common education will get about 1.6% increase from last year, $2.4 billion, hopefully going back into the formula. But really what I've told Dr. Dunlop and the rest of our leadership team at this point, what we're waiting to hear is how that money, how the State Department will distribute that to the school districts. Will that go directly all into the formula? Will they line item it out for specific activities like textbooks, ACE, PD, RSA? So how will that actually be allocated to us? And that is really what we were waiting on to hear at this point. If we were to have been funded at where we were at midterm, that was at that 3,050 mark, and we have heard that hopefully the factor will be somewhere in that ballpark, but right now our initial allocation is set to be released in July.
I have a question. If it's challenged, what does well, I guess it's a crystal ball, but if it is challenged, what is the timeline associated to that, the expectation? Would it be 18 months? Would that affect the next fiscal year funding? How do you see that, or do you not know?
Well, I'm hoping that if it were to be challenged, they would still be allowed to collect revenue in the funds that it's dedicated to go into. I would hope that they would not halt all of the major services across the state from being able to function and to provide services. But again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, and I'm not really sure what that would look like at this point. But our hope is that whether it's challenged or not, that school districts will be informed in July what our base funding should be. And again, we'll kind of go through this waiting game of how the revenue collections actually start coming in through the first half of the year. And then when the State Board of Equalization meets in December, that'll really be the temperature gauge on where we're at for school year 17-18.
Okay. This is certainly something that's in my mind, but as we move to the next fiscal year and with their expectation of being additional shortfalls, do you see that potentially impacting? I know we're talking about the budget being funded and the dollars apportioned for this current fiscal year moving forward, that those be in place and those not change. But the question I have is, if there are additional shortfalls into next year and there are additional cuts, could that impact us in other ways?
Yes, I mean, I think level of service is something that we've been dealing with, certainly as we've had to make difficult decisions at the latter part of this year and then going into school year 17-18. But that's why under Dr. Dunlop's leadership and the rest of the leadership team and the board's direction, we've tried to stay proactive in staying ahead of some of those cuts and going ahead and making contingency plans, if you will, in case the bottom does drop out again this time next year. Now, certainly, if we reach a point to where things just get really bad, we'll have to make some immediate reactionary decisions, and we won't have the luxury of just falling on fund balance to help us weather the storm. But we're optimistic at this point, cautiously optimistic.
And I appreciate very much all the work that the district is doing, the leadership team, all the conversations that are being had. I just think it's very important that as we continue to move forward with the budget, things are still very tenuous.
Right.
Yes.
And I believe Superintendent Hoffmeister's exemplary leadership and advocacy for public education has certainly been a great benefit to us all. And we are grateful that it wasn't worse than what we were planning for. I mean, we were, if you recall, going into scenarios of upwards of 10%, which would have been devastating. But if, like I said, we'll take where we were funded at midterm this year, gratefully.
Are there other questions, comments?
I just have a quick comment. One of the phrases that we've been using in leadership is that we're being cautiously optimistic. Of course, the news that came from legislature that education would be potentially held flat was good news to us, but we have heard those words before. And what those words equated to in this year and the year prior is that then we received mid-year cuts. So we are being cautiously optimistic, but you won't see us at this point adding a lot of things back into our budget. We have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, and that's what we're going to do from this point forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the general consent agenda, items 20 through 70. There were no items that were called to our attention that I'm aware of. However, if you have one that you need pulled, certainly you could bring that forward right now at this time.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to formally or to approve the general consent agenda items 20 through 70. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item, under Human Resources, Ms. Lori Tiger.
Good evening. Session has closed, so I'm not here to talk about legislation tonight. We have turned the corner and we are moving on to board policy. I'm sure if you saw the attachment to the agenda, it's a little bit overwhelming to look at tonight. We started this process at the beginning of the school year. It was brought to me that we could potentially move to a standardized policy manual. And when it was decided that that was impossible to do, then we went about what is the best way to thoroughly vet through our entire policy manual this year, which is a huge task. So in January, we created a policy task force, if you would, and everyone on the leadership team took ownership of a section of the policy manual and then identified individuals who really had a big stake in the policies within that section. And the employee section, we went a step farther and even created a subcommittee that had about 25 people on it, just because that's the heart and soul of all of our leave and our benefits and things. We want to make sure that all categories and classes of employees were represented and heard during that process. So we took a lot of time and vetted that during this semester. So what was brought to you tonight was the result of a semester-long task force of several different committees working within each section. We have 77 different policies brought to you tonight. So obviously this is a first read to give you plenty of time to go through. They're all redlined and pretty black and white, if you will, on what was made. A lot of it is cleanup. A lot of it is this is what we always do, but it's not written anywhere. We should probably get that written down. There are some changes that you may have questions on. It was brought to my attention on the employees section that there are some significant changes in that section that it may be helpful to create a summary and send that out. So I will be doing that very quickly to help give a guide for that section so you can easily see the changes that were made that are just not grammatical errors and things like that, because a lot of that was cleaned up during this process as well. A lot of our people in the district who are involved in all areas were asked to sit on multiple of these committees and really put a lot of time and effort into looking at those, which we greatly appreciated the people who sat in on those. After this step, in July, of course, we're available for any questions, and we can go back and we can revise anything that we need to at this point. If these are voted on in July, then the next step we'd like to do is we would like to turn this over to RFR just for one time, just to look to make sure that we don't have any holes, that we're not missing anything that's mandated, that we need policies on, and to make sure we're in compliance to start the next school year. And then we will reconvene quarterly meetings from here on out. So this should be the only time that it's a little bit overwhelming, was the first cleanup of this, and then from then on out we should only be coming to you quarterly, and it should only be changes as necessary or as mandated by legislation.
Ms. Tiger, I do want to compliment you and all of those who worked through the policies. I was able to just make a quick review of this for this meeting, and we'll go back and look more carefully. But I certainly want to acknowledge the great deal of work that has been placed into cleaning up the policies and making certain adjustments. And I know that does take time. It does take a lot of people's effort in reading and truly understanding what's in our policies. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is Mr. Bob Talameo.
Good evening, Dr. Dunlop, members of the board. I'm here for the construction update. We have quite a few projects that are going on currently, and kind of like the kids, we're really waiting for the summer time to start. So we've started at all these school sites. I'm going to focus in on the high school since that's what I get the most comments about. I figured let's dig into that one quite a bit. 11 classrooms are being added to the high school. We're fixing some ADA compliance issues within the high school, updating the restrooms, updating the patio was actually structurally falling away from the field house. It was limited to just that patio portion, so we've addressed that and fixed that. We're also connecting B building to VPA to the field house, so we're also connecting some more buildings out there. In this picture, you can kind of see that's that south entry into the field house. You can see it starting to take shape. We have all the lightweight concrete roof deck poured, so we're getting dried in. We're starting to see windows set. This is the east entry into the field house dining area kind of spaces. And you can see building B and VPA off to the far right as well. This is an inside and outside shot of those classrooms. This is five of those classrooms, and then that's the existing face of that VPA hallway where that the Pride Trophy sits in that display case, and the black box and stuff like that. And then this is the inside of the field house. We've started setting windows, metal studs are about done, overhead rough-in is about done, in-wall rough-in is about done. You'll start seeing sheetrock going up next. And then this is probably a really, really nice picture of all the canopies gone across the high school campus. We're about 95% complete with the demolition out there. We are going back with a fabric shade structure canvas canopy, so we're really lightening it up and brightening it up, if you will. It really looks nice and wide open. You can really tell how much space we have out there. Here's an overall of what the south parking lot will look like. This is another big bite that we took off this summer. Not only are we repairing and replacing the back parking lot, we're also adding drainage, which I know that's not glamorous, but it is a must back here. We have a high water table, so that'll really help with the potholes and the heaving and the pumping of that asphalt. You can see our mounds and mounds of dirt and asphalt and clay that we're taking out of this site. So we're really progressing out here. We are on schedule. We only have 10 weeks to complete it, so keep praying for the weather to stay nice out here. We're also adding lights out back. I'll go quickly into these other ones. Do you guys have any questions about the high school? All right, Timber Ridge, we did have a teacher tour out there a couple weeks ago. It's progressing nicely. We got a lot of positive feedback from the teachers, and this school will be ready in August. This is a new picture of from the drone. You can see the colors starting to go up on the building. Out at Sequoia, we have started all those bottom pink classrooms. We've started construction on all of those. We're moving the media center up front. That's almost complete. And you can see it kind of right there in the top right. We're refacing that media center as well, kind of bringing it out and further promoting our literacy as our top priority. Out at the Freshman Academy, again, we're bringing the media center out front, raising the ceilings, putting that focus on literacy, and you can see that kind of how it takes shape on the top of that page. And then this is the second floor. We're adding a total of 10 classrooms to the Freshman Academy. And the bottom picture is where we're aligning First Street with First Street across from 101st. And then we have started interior renovations as well. Kirkland Activity Complex, as you've heard, soccer's going to be moving out here. We're renovating the auditorium, 2 turf fields. We've started the earthwork and site utilities and lights and all the not fun stuff. that you don't really see, but plays a big role in that. And then the last project of the 2009 bond issue is the Performing Arts Center. As you can see, we're really massively under construction here. We've set off fire alarms a couple times today. New box office, new practice rooms out on the west side, and we sure can build it.
You know, just looking at some of the progress around the district, it seems like we're doing fairly well on schedule.
Yes, we are. The high school was running about 2 weeks behind schedule. We have caught up, and we are right on schedule right now. So it will occupy in November. We're going to occupy the new elementary school. We're going to bring Miss Green in sometime in July to start operations out of her new building, and then we'll hopefully let teachers in August 1st. Sequoia is going to be a sprint to the finish. We are renovating 5 science classrooms and 3 special needs classrooms out there, which all require power and water and plumbing and toilets and things like that. So those are going to be a sprint to the finish, but we are on track to occupy those. It will just be a planned August occupy for teachers as well.
Are there any questions? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I did accompany the faculty at Timber Ridge when they were going through that, and their excitement, having seen just the rough end stuff, I want to compliment you guys because it was obvious that you have listened to the teachers, you've included the teachers in their input, and they were very, very excited, and it was infectious. And I came home excited for them. And the idea that every classroom just has a sink and a bubble fountain just thrills me. But anyway, I want to compliment you for really listening, and as a district, I think it means a lot.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Any other comments? Thank you. Next item.
Next item is mine. We went out to bid for the fire suppression at Kirkland, and we received bids. The lowest one was $72,215. Our allowance for that line item was $120,000, so we did come under budget.
If there are no comments, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the rebid for the fire suppression for the Kirkland Activities Complex. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Blackburn.
Good evening. Tonight I bring to you a motion and vote on the approval or disapproval of the contract submitted by Tyler Technologies Incorporated to provide services for proposed global positioning systems for our transportation department. Total cost of the district is $94,382 and will be paid out of bond funds.
If there are no comments, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the contract submitted by Tyler Technologies, Inc. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item,
All right,
Ms.
good
Dias.
Good evening, Dr. Dunlop and members of the board. This evening I bring to you a discussion to vote on an approval for a waiver for a media specialist at Country Lane Intermediate for Ms. Stephanie Watkins. Mr. Greathouse did interview numerous candidates, but she was by far the most highly qualified and the best fit. She will finish her library media degree in May of 2018.
Okay, no questions. I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the statutory waiver for Stephanie Watkins to fill a vacant media specialist position at Country Lane Intermediate for the 17-18 fiscal year or school year. Thank you. Go ahead.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, Dr. Coates.
Good evening, Dr. Dunlop and board. I bring to you tonight a discussion, motion, and vote on motion to approve or disapprove the bid from Rehab Source for kids to improve occupational and physical therapy to special education students beginning in 2017 and 18. The total cost to the district will be $59 per hour and will be paid out of general funds. I want to make you aware that this amount of $59 per hour is not the lowest bid. We sent this out to bid because of the budget issues this year. We spent out of the special ed general fund over $500,000 for occupational therapy and physical therapy, so that's why we put it out to bid, just to see if we could maybe find a lower rate. And I would like to bring Jeanette Brown, if she's still here. She is our Related Services Coordinator. She's the one that did the research on the bids, and just explain to you why we are proposing the higher bid rather than the lower bid.
Good evening, Vice President Kelly and members of the board and Dr. Dunlop. After reviewing the 3 bids, I went through them line item by line item, and our biggest concern, or my biggest concern, was the ability for the companies to provide adequate occupational therapists and physical therapists. Because we're such a large district, we currently have 17 OTs and PTs, and that's a lot. There's a shortage of OTs and PTs out there, so for a company to be able to come in and provide adequate therapists for us was a concern. Upon looking at their bids and calling and asking questions of them, I received comments like, well, we've got 5 dedicated for you guys that you could use. And that was kind of like, Another company asked me, how many schools do you guys even have? And so they hadn't really done, in my opinion, proper background and research to know what exactly they were bidding. Rehab Source is the one we chose, and they have been our company that we've had for the last 11 years. They have provided excellent services to our students and our teachers. They have provided, they've done all of of course, the therapy, the evaluations. They attend our IEP meetings. They've developed an excellent rapport with our teachers and our students and our parents. After looking at everything that they do for us, they provide us a lot of extra things that we weren't billed for, that we're not charged for. We're only charged for our direct services. They provide a manager who comes over once a month and meets with me, and we go over any concerns that I have about any of their therapists, or we go over Medicaid billing, we go over anything that I need them to do or not to do. She gets it done, and she sends out emails and gets things handled, so it takes off a lot of workload off of me. She provides, if they hire a new PT or OT, she provides them training with a no cost to us. I don't have to do it. It's not taking resources from our special ed department, which is growingly smaller. So she's providing all that training at no charge to us. They don't charge mileage between school districts, between school sites for us. They don't charge their time. They don't bill their time. They provide us an adequate billing statement each month, and I can go through and I can say, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? And they can provide exactly what that was and what that service is. And it's very clear and precise and honest and upfront. Most of these 17 therapists have been with us for the entire 11 years. And that consistency for our students and our parents, they know what to expect. They know what kind of services they're receiving. The students know them, and we just felt like at this time it was better to go with consistent and stable and quality of what we know we're getting. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, I do want to say I appreciate very much, Dr. Coates, certainly the idea of putting it out there to bid, because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And so with the rationale that you've given, it's very easy to understand why we need to potentially, obviously I'm one person up here, but the recommendation is that most likely we stay with the current company. That's the way I'm understanding it.
Yes.
And for very good reasons that you've outlined here this evening. So I just wanted to say, though, I appreciate as a board member us taking the due diligence to ensure that we are getting the best for our students.
Do these other 2 companies charge administrative cost and bill for mileage and
Yes, sir, they
all
do.
the stuff that this one's not?
Yes, they do.
So their
And
price could be as high as this one or more?
Yes, sir. And that's what I took into consideration when I was going line item by line item. It's like one company was just slightly below, and they only would provide X amount of hours, and every hour over that was going to have to be renegotiated at a higher rate than what they were asking, and it left a very open-ended. We have no idea how much you could really be charging us. With our current company, we limit how much time they are allowed to spend documenting their services. In other words, if I'm on my computer and I'm just slow and, you know, just taking my sweet time typing versus someone who's very fast, we have a limited amount of, we'll only pay X amount of time. And if you are slow, then you're just slow. You don't get paid for it. And we have that kind of an agreement with them. This other companies, it is, you know, minute by minute. If it takes me 15 minutes to do it and it takes you 45 minutes, we're going to pay 45 minutes for that slower therapist to document.
So we could be getting the lower bid anyway, in the long run.
Absolutely.
With known results.
With known results, that's right. And all of the other two companies would have to be trained. All their therapists would have to be trained on our system, on our billing. The way we document for the therapy would all have to be trained, and that's hours upon hours of training that I would have to do. And then they would bill us for each one of those people sitting there doing that. So,
thank you for the research and due diligence.
Yes.
Thank you.
If there are no other comments, I'd accept a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the bid from Rehab Source for Kids. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item, Ms. Jennifer Peterson.
Good evening again. I'm bringing to you discussion, motion, and vote to approve or disapprove the Gifted and Talented Advisory Council members for 17-18. I know that Ms. Turner had brought this earlier in the year, but with her leaving and also with some change of responsibilities, I'm now going to be taking back Gifted, and so we needed to shift some members on that, and we need it to be board approved.
Okay. If there are no comments, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the Gifted and Talented Advisory Council members for the 2017-18 school year. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item under Technology Services, Mr. Ben Stout.
Thank you, Dr. Dunlop, Vice President Kelly, members of the board. Item number 78 is to request approval for purchasing audio systems through Lightspeed, and this is going to be for the new Timber Ridge grade school and also the high school and other configurations throughout the district. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any comments? I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the purchase of audio systems for new construction between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Lightspeed Technologies, Inc. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item under Business Services, Ms. Kathy Metavalis.
Good evening. My first item is the change order report, and for this period of time, May 4th through May 31st, we're showing a decrease of $97,068.99, and I would recommend your approval of those change orders.
Okay, any questions or comments? I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the change order reports for all funds for the 2016-17 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
The next item is the encumbrance report, reflecting encumbrance orders totaling $1,513,902.25, and I would recommend your approval of those encumbrance orders.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the encumbrance reports for all funds for the 2016-2017 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item under new business, there is none, so we'll move to the next item, which is to adjourn.
Recommend adjournment?
Second. We have a motion and second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.